To order at 2:03. Apologies, Mission Drive got me. That light sometimes gets you when you're coming in. Welcome to the special magistrate meeting of Wednesday, February 25th, 2026 at 2 p.m. At the outset, I have reviewed the minutes of January 28th, 2026 and have approved those. Typically, I would do an overview of process, but everyone in this room has been here before, and we don't have any residents with us that I can see. So we will go straight into the swearing in of city staff, respondents, and witnesses.
Please raise your right hand. In the matter to which you are about to give testimony, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
The witnesses have been sworn in.
Thank you. And we'll go straight into old business, which is CCSM 0504 2025 1720 Magnolia Street.
All right, so this is the second hearing for the property at 1720 Magnolia Street. The previous hearing on January 28, 2026, we just, special magistrate moved to continue this case until the February 25th, 2026 hearing. It really didn't present anything at that time. So today we do have some stuff to present. Some of the items that I'm going to bring up have been brought into compliance. Some of the items are kind of still outstanding. I have some photos here I'm just going to show you that have been taken throughout the process of this. Some of the photos are from the business license tax receipt inspection, and then some of them are just sign pictures and such. Kind of went from today.
Okay, thank you.
So this property was brought to our attention on September 8th, 2025. Code Compliance received an online complaint regarding the recent opening of a commercial business at 1720 Magnolia Street. And it basically stated within our residentially zoned neighborhood, this development not only disrupts the quiet character of our community, but also raises serious concerns about increased traffic, noise, and safety for residents, especially children and seniors. Allowing commercial activity in a residentially zoned sets troubling precedents and undermines the integrity of zoning regulations intended to protect the residents. Additionally, the extremely bright neon green open sign is lit 24/7, which further contributes to this disruption. On September 9th, 2025, we also received another complaint regarding the same property, which it was an online complaint stating that it looks like the homeowner has opened a full-service salon and spa in her home in a residential zone district, R2. The craft salon and spa was located in the public shopping plaza on Beachside. They have a green LED open light that was left on 24/7 last week. Multiple signs in all windows and banners with their address in the front and back of the house. When the business was Googled, their page instructs customers to park on the west and south side of the building. The south side of the building is NSB property, and people have been parking. Customer traffic for the business is constant all day long. Several other email complaints were received regarding the activities at this location, stating other businesses were now operating at this location and parking of vehicles blocking the fire hydrants and city property, additional signs added, and the neon open sign being on 24/7. Code Compliance has conducted several inspections at this property. Regarding the neon light, it was at one point being left on. I don't know if it was 24/7, but I do know it was left on quite often. There were parking issues at the location. A lot of that, I believe, has been resolved. On occasion, it might get a little out of hand, but that's kind of, it's being monitored, and I know parking enforcement also monitors it. So staff met as a group. We all met to determine what was permitted for the home-based business and the approval from the pre-application meeting for this location. The applicant, Tara Rando, requested approval for 2 employees and herself to cut hair for her home-based business. On October 16, 2025, a site inspection was conducted and the property was found in violation of the following. And in between that, it did have, like I said, she had her inspection for the business license. There seemed to be, she was doing massages, nails, all kinds of different things within the property. So at the site inspection on 10/16/2025, the that we found were Land Development Regulation, Section 504.02 zoning regulations for R2 single-family residential. And at that time, the property appearance looked to be more of a commercial use than a residential use. We also found Section 801.06A, subsection 2, and that's where it states that business employees who work at the residential dwelling must reside in the residential dwelling except for 2 employees or independent contractors. At that time, we had found other advertisements for 2 additional businesses, not just her business. We also, Section 801.06A, subsection 4, there were parking relating to the business activities of the home-based business that must comply with local zoning requirements, and there's a whole, I'm not going to read the whole thing. At that time, there were vehicles parked in a manner that the fire hydrant was being blocked. They were parked over sidewalks and in the right-of-way. We also found Section 801.06A, 8A, a home-based business shall be required to have a city business license. So she did have a business license, but it was for a salon only. And at that time, that's when she stated that she was just going to be cutting hair. We also had 801.06A9, one sign not to exceed 3 square feet attached only in the window or on a door is permitted per parcel. She had 2 banner signs and a couple of window signs, and then also the neon open sign. We also found that a tree had been removed, so Land Development Regulation 604.051, tree preservation, and she removed the tree without a permit. And, excuse me, and then Section 74-146, local business tax imposed. Again, that was because she had only licensed for the hair. No skin, nails, tanning, or anything else was included in that business license. On November 5th, 2025, Code Compliance Officer Jason Yates and myself met with Tara Rondo. She's the property owner and also the business owner, to discuss the violations, and gave her a courtesy notice with the sections of city code violations as stated above. We also listened to the audio with Ms. Rando from the pre-application meeting to go over the approval for the home-based business. Ms. Rando stated that she would be able to comply with the sign violations that day by removing the additional signs. She would work with her clients on the parking issues. She would contact Kathleen Adel to discuss changing her business license tax receipt and contact permitting department regarding the tree permit. Compliance dates listed on the courtesy notice and that we discussed with Ms. Rando were November 17th, 2025 and December 11th, 2025. Compliance was not achieved by the dates given in the courtesy notice. On January 12th, 2026, a notice of violation, notice of hearing was posted on the property with an initial compliance date of January 21st, 2026. Copy was also mailed, certified mail, to the property owner. Certified mail was accepted on January 15th, 2026. On January 22nd, 2026, follow-up inspection showed the property remained in violation of Section 801.06A, subsection 9. And that was for, she still had more than the one sign that was allowed. And then Section 604.051, the tree permit had not been applied for. And Section 74-146, the local business tax had not been updated. I've had several conversations with Ms. Rando's attorney. I've had conversations with her boyfriend regarding easy. I mean, it's pretty easy to come into compliance. So the most recent conversation I had was today with her attorney, and I kind of went over what was left to be done. She did come in Monday. She applied for the tree permit. That's in review.
Mhm.
She came in and talked to Kathleen on Monday as well, but she still seems kind of confused about what she wants to do or how she's going to do it or how she's going to handle it. She stated that she's got someone there with her, but I don't know if she really understands that that has to be her employee, because it's the way she talked to Kathleen, it was not her employee.
Okay.
So her attorney, after I spoke with him today, he's going to try to get back in touch with her and try to work that out with her to make sure that she understands exactly what she's supposed to do with her business license. So on January 28th, prior to the hearing, I conducted a site visit and found that the signs had met the regulations at that time, so those are in compliance.
Mhm.
On February 25th, 2026, the review of the permit system shows, as I stated, that the tree permit has been applied for. It is in the review process, and they will need to do one replacement tree.
Okay.
Ms. Rando has been in touch with Kathleen regarding the business license. Again, I think I'm hoping that her attorney can explain it to her and help her get it straightened out. Is basically, I think the person is supposed to be her employee, and she just needs to add some additional classifications to her business license.
Okay.
And it may require another inspection, so we can make sure that what she's stating on the license is what she's actually doing there. So my recommendation for today is to give her until March 18th, 2026, that will give her time to replant the replacement tree, update the business license tax receipt by reflecting all categories per the business license, city business license, and update the websites. There's still one website out there that's advertising another business.
Okay.
And I spoke to her about that a couple of different times. I actually went on there today, and it's still there. So she needs to, if that person's not still with her, she needs to get in touch with them and just ask them to get her address off the website. So the recommendation is to give till March 18th to comply, and if Ms. Rando does not comply, it's my recommendation that Ms. Rando and/or entity comes into compliance, and then if they do not, to impose a fine of $100 per day for section 604.051, tree preservations, until the property is brought into full compliance, and then the fine of $250 for the business license to get that updated.
Okay.
And the maximum fine would not exceed $10,000. That's a lot, and there's a lot going on there.
No worries. A few questions. So at this time, based on your review, the only item that is currently in compliance, overall section-wise, is the 26-171A for the signage.
Yes, the
Okay.
sign's in compliance.
Perfect. Okay.
But the tree, again,
It's in process, but
it's
not
in the
mitigated
process,
yet.
but
Right. We'll
I
keep
don't
that.
recommend finding compliance until it's complete.
During the site inspection, my concern in looking at all of this is that it seemed like it had expanded to almost the entire ground floor of the building. And I don't know the balance of the home-based business being secondary to it being a residence. Has that been reviewed and found to be met?
That, I'm not sure. I think some of that has changed. So I'm not sure if this 20%, I know it used to be 20% of the home-based business, that's all it could be used. But since the state law has changed, I'm not sure if they expanded that
I
room.
think anywhere less than half under the new, but,
I believe that was.
Yeah. Mhm.
I believe that was addressed at one point while we were kind of going over this.
Mhm.
And from what I remember, whoever, and I just don't remember offhand who we spoke to about it, but that was something that was brought up, and somebody did state that they believe that that part of it was okay, I guess, in comparison to the living space and what was there based on whatever new rule changes were out there. I'm just trying to remember who we spoke to give that information, but that's all I can remember on that.
Okay.
So I think she was in compliance with it
Okay.
on that part.
Got it. Well, it seems clear to me that I think the recommendation makes sense. I would like to see this come together by that cutoff, so I think that we've got a path forward. So I don't have any other questions on this one, and I don't see it, but I'm going to say it for the record. Is there anyone in the public who wishes to speak on this item? All right, seeing none. Based on the testimony provided and the evidence in the record, I will find that the property is currently in violation of LDR 50402, the R2 zoning district regulations, Section 80106, home-based business regulations, Section 74146, local business tax, and LDR 604051 for tree preservation. We will order that the property come into compliance by 1 p.m. on March 18th, 2026, and notify the inspector to request a reinspection. If the property is not in compliance by that date, a $100 per day violation for LDR Section 604051, and a one-time fine of $250 for Section 64146 may be imposed along with other fines. And this case will return to the special magistrate on the March 25th at 2 p.m.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. The next item we have, that's our only old business. So new business, again, the lovely world of signs, 5A CCSM 0566 2025 108 South Myrtle.
Okay, I'm actually presenting this case on Beverly's behalf, and I did take a picture this afternoon, actually, of the sign that's in question.
Thank you.
So this case number is CCB-0566-2025. Property location is 108 South Myrtle Avenue. The zoning district is R5 multifamily residential. On October 13th, 2025, Beverly observed a multiple for sale sign on the property. She researched the property in InterGov and found there to be no permit on record for the sign. She found the property to be in violation of Land Development Regulations, Section 604.12.d, permit required. On October 14th, 2026, she sent an email to the property owner, Justin Walker, and the realtor, Ignacio Barcatelli, informing them that a permit is required for the signs located on the property. She had no response from that email. On January 14th, 2026, a notice of violation was posted on the property with an initial compliance date of January 29th, 2026. A copy was also mailed certified mail to the property owner and was signed for and accepted on February 2nd, 2026. She also sent a copy of the notice of violation, notice hearing to the property owner by email. On February 25th, 2026, a follow-up inspection showed violations still exist. Signs are still erected, and there is still no application for the permit submitted. It's the staff's recommendation that the special magistrate find Justin Walker and/or entity in violation of Land Development Regulations, Section 604.12.d, permit required, and give until March 5th, 2026 to bring the property into full compliance. If the owner does not come into compliance, it is recommendation to impose a fine in the amount of $50 per day until the property is brought into full compliance. The fine shall not exceed $20,000.
And I know you are covering for this one, so this may just be for the record. But this property has been listed and unlisted on Zillow, very official research tool here, since September of 2024. Has the sign been in place since that time, or just recently?
No,
Okay.
there was 2 homes on that property, and I believe the property owner now, Justin, I believe he purchased it after that ad on Zillow.
Okay.
And then he had both of the homes demolished, and this sign, I believe, has only been there a few months. I'm not sure exactly how long.
Okay.
I know Beverly's been doing a lot of work on a lot of the signs around the city, and I believe she discovered it when she was doing some of the other signs.
Got it? Okay. Great. All right, that is my only question on this one. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this item? Seeing none, based on the record and the testimony provided, we will find that the property is currently in violation of LDR 604.12D signs, permits required. We will order that the property be brought into compliance by March 12th, 2026, and notify the code inspector reinspection for compliance. If the compliance is not met by that date, a fine of $50 per day for each section of code that remains in violation may be imposed, and this will come back on March 25th, 2026 at 2 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and our last item of the day, because the other two were withdrawn, is 5B, CCSM 0556, 2025-905 Canal Street.
Okay. I also have a photo that I took this afternoon for this property, and I also have, I guess it's a proof, if you will, that was approved by zoning for the sign, that they did finally submit a permit for this one, and this is just the proof that was submitted with the permit.
Okay. Thank you.
This case is CCSM-0556-2025. Location is Canal Street, parcel ID 741808310070. The zoning district is mixed-use central business district. On October 13th, 2025, Beverly observed two signs that had been erected in the right-of-way and found that there was no permits on file. After finding no permit, the property was found to be in violation of Land Development Regulation Section 604.12G9B, no permit, and does not meet the criteria. On January 14th, 2026, a notice of violation was posted on the property with an initial compliance date of January 29th, 2026. A copy was also mailed certified mail to the property owner and was signed for and accepted on January 20th, 2026. It was also emailed a copy to the property owner and spoke to the property owner on January 14th, 2026. On January 23rd, 2026, an application for the permit was submitted. On February 4th, 2026, zoning reviewed the application and documents submitted and responded stating that the sign must be less than a 45-degree angle. The site plan must match what is on the site. The signs on the site are nearly side by side and at approximately 100 degrees. On February 11th, 2026, Beverly sent an email to Ignacio Barcatelli, who applied for the permit, letting him know that the site plan must match what's on site. She got no response to the email. On February 12, 2026, the sign permit was issued. It needs to be known that the permit technicians do not inspect the site conditions. And in this instance, there has to be they placed a hold on the property based on the email that Beverly copied to the permit department. So they placed a hold on it to let them know that it's not in compliance with the regulations and with what they submitted on the permit. And, excuse me, on February 15th, 2026, Beverly called and spoke to Mr. Barcatelli, told him about the review notes and the signs either need to be corrected to be no more than a 45-degree angle, or this case will go before the special magistrate. On February 25th, 2026, follow-up inspection showed neither the sign nor the permit had been corrected. It's staff's recommendation that the special magistrate find Wolf Home Buyers LLC and/or entity in violation of Land Development Regulation 604.12G9B and give until March 11th, 2026 to bring the property into full compliance. If the owner does not come into compliance, recommendation to impose a fine of $50 per day until the property is brought into full compliance. The fine amount shall not exceed $20,000.
Do we know, based on those discussions, and again, this may be a follow-up for the next hearing, if these properties, this property specifically, is currently for sale, Or is it just acting as a billboard?
I'm not sure. I believe it's for sale, but I'm honestly don't know. I can do some research and we can bring it back and let you know that for sure.
Okay.
But could be either one.
And if there is not an active listing, and this may be a question for the city attorney's office, are you permitted to advertise a business that is not located on the site for signage on the site?
No, it would be considered an off-site
Off-site
sign, and
sign, yeah.
off-site signs are not permitted.
See, she knows.
That was what I thought, so I wanted to
Yeah.
confirm that. Okay, great. I just noticed the signs don't say for sale. They're
They
just
don't.
advertising a realtor. And I do note this photo you gave me is the copy of what was submitted.
Yeah, the red stamp there is
Yep.
what, the zoning stamp, and that's what they submitted with the permit. And the one that I took today is what is actually on the property.
I'm going to note for the record, and this will be in the backup, that this sign is not what is present on this site at all. So, okay,
Thank you.
great. All right. Does anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, based on the record and the testimony provided, we will find the property is currently in violation of LDR 604.12G9B, non-exempt additional signs for commercial properties without a permit. We will require the property be brought into compliance by 1 p.m. on March 11, 2026, and notify the code inspector and request a reinspection to determine compliance. A fine of $50 per day for each section of code that remains in violation may be imposed. In this case, will be brought back to the next hearing date on March 25th, 2026 at 2 p.m. if compliance is not achieved. I do want to note on this one that this findings of fact does note the owner and or entity, but I noticed on the notice letter that entity name isn't listed, so we might want to just list both for future. And with that, we are at the end of our new business. Does anyone have anything else to
I
cover?
think that's it. Thank you.
All right,
Nothing.
thank you. We are adjourned then.
That was short and sweet, guys.